Hello guys, welcome back to Super Guy Boy Show, and I know this might be a weird video for y'all since I've been gone and now I'm coming out with a completely different video. For y'all who are a bit confused, I will not be changing my content. I will be returning back to more JoJo's topic videos, but right now I want to do something completely different for this occasion because I will be returning to some album reviews for certain instances, like albums that I actually want to talk about, and this is one of those instances. I will return back to JoJo content very soon, but right now I want to talk about this album, Scaring the Hoes by JPEG Mafia and Danny Brown. I've been excited for this album since like the announcement of it. The idea of a Peggy and Danny project coming out sounded very great to me, and it's the fact that JPEG Mafia is like my favorite rapper. Like in my opinion, he's released like such great albums and has almost like a perfect discography of records like Veteran, All My Heroes Are Cornballs, LP, and EP2, with such amazing songs. And the thing I love about JPEG Mafia the most is his way of how he can make such great genre-defined surrealist music while still being a great rapper. He doesn't sacrifice his rapping abilities just for the sake of his weird production. He can still rap very well on these songs, and for Danny Brown, while I'm not the biggest fan of Danny Brown, I do respect him and I do think he has some great albums like XXX and Atrocity Expedition, but they're not albums that I'm gonna go on the daily or listen to, but I do think that he does have some great music. So this whole idea of Scaring the Hoes, just by the name of it, the cover, and like the fact that it's a volume 1 and that we're most likely gonna be getting 3 albums this year from Peggy, it's just getting me more and more excited. And it's just like the singles to this thing, and like all of that just combining it made me excited. And I will say this did meet some of my expectations on here. First off, the production all over this album has this very aggressive and very raw feel to it. It kind of reminds me of a mixtape type of way. There's not really a Peggy project that I can compare it to that much because it has this very grimy approach to it. Tracks like Scaring the Hoes or Where'd You Get Your Coke From or Garbage Pail Kids has very aggressive raw production to it, and I guess it makes a lot more sense looking at the machine that Peggy used on this album. This thing, I forgot the name of it, but basically when you're using a machine like that, it could probably be the reason why a lot of production on here has this very like grimy and raw approach to it. The title track on here, Scaring the Hoes, which is one of my favorite tracks on here, has these very noise ambient rhythmic clappings throughout the entire song, mixed in with this very eerie saxophone solo, and then coming in after that is these blasting live drums in here. Peggy and Danny throughout the entire song are just screaming and so much reverb and all that, and then these shrieking vocals in the background, these shrieking ad-libs and everything, and then Peggy's own refrain of what the fuck is this, give me back my aux cord. It just makes this one of Peggy's and Danny's most weirdest songs on their discography, in my opinion. And especially the beat on its own, this has to be one of Peggy's most weirdest beats in a while. It kind of takes me back to something like Veteran with how very raw this one is, and then mixing in with that there's Garbage Pail Kids, which on its own the beat is fairly simple, but then after that there's this aggressive distorted guitar just raving throughout the entire track, and then after that there's the second half of Shut Your Bitch Ass Up, which has this very eerie sound to it. I don't know why. It kind of reminds me of something that RZA would have produced for the 36 Chambers. Just how very eerie and very kind of unrhythmic the beat in general just is. And then after that, there's the outro on here, which has this blasting guitar that just comes in every time, and it's just so loud and distorted. And this is definitely one of Peggy's most complex and most distorted and loudest like beats he's done on any project, in my opinion. And that's also another thing I also do like, is that this one does stand out in a lot of ways, while there's still beats on here that do take you back to some things as well, like the track Kingdom Hearts Key, which has this beat that reminds me of something that would come off of a Devon Hendrix album. Just the way how the beat is very, very luscious in a way, and how it kind of has this sample that just repeats entirely. It just reminds me of something like that. It's fairly simple but effective at the same time. But there's other beats that I feel like just do not work well for me. I think the track Perfect or Orange Juice Jones or Run the Jewels, I feel like are tracks that I think are a little bit of a little bit lukewarm compared to others. I think the track Perfect is way too basic of a beat for me to be all too much over on it. And also the track Orange Juice Jones on here, I do think that the instrumental is alright, but the way how Danny Brown flows throughout the entire track, I just did not like at all. I just wasn't too big on the track, and I think that's the thing that most people are getting confused of. A lot of people are saying that Danny's vocals are mixed badly into the songs, when I feel like that's not really the case. It's just that he doesn't fit well on too much of the beats on here. There's some beats where he flows very well onto, like Shut Your Bitch Ass Up, but there's other songs where he just feels very out of place in my opinion, like on Orange Juice Jones. I just wasn't that big on his flow or the way he was on that track, and I think that's the thing most people are getting wrong. Yes, Lean Beef Patty was mixed very badly on Danny's part. Like, entirely that song I feel like is more of a JPEG song than really anything else, but that's not really the case on most of the album. I think the thing is that Danny just flows very weird compared to when he's on his solo projects than he would be on Peggy's projects. Some tracks it works well, but there's some others that just do not work as well. There's other things I also do think are interesting. While not being my favorites, I did like the two gospel tracks on here, like God Loves You or the second to last song. I think those tracks have very impactful type of feel to it. These are some of Peggy's most complex beats to it. They have a very cinematic feel to it. They're not my favorites, but they're very interesting experiments in my opinion. And the track Lean Beef Patty as a single, I think this was a great introduction to the album. Yes, Danny's vocals are mixed very weird the first time it came out, but I think he fixed a little bit of it. But even still, I still really like the song for what it is. And I think Peggy's verse on here about complaining about Twitter and about the whole like $8 is too much thing is like funny to me at least. And I do love the very loud and aggressive horn synths throughout the entire song. But overall, I just wasn't that big on this project too much. This felt more like a Peggy project featuring Danny Brown than it really did a Danny and Peggy project. And with the whole Danny going to rehab thing, hopefully they recorded way more music before this whole thing, which most likely that would be the case if he did announce 3 albums. I'm hoping that the other volumes on this thing are better and feel a little bit more consistent, because while I did like this project, I didn't really feel all too much on it. I did think that there are some beats on here that just felt very lukewarm, or just other songs I just wasn't too big on, and I didn't really find this very, and I didn't find Peggy's lyrics too interesting to me. And that's the thing about Peggy that I love, is that while he has very weird production, it doesn't stop him from being a very great rapper. And I didn't find too many great lines on this project either. I just felt like this album was just fairly good. It was decent. I would expect a little bit more, but I think for the project we have, I was still satisfied. And I'm feeling like a 7 out of 10, closer to more of a 6 than really an 8. But, hopefully the other project, if there is going to be one, the other volumes and all that, hopefully they're going to be way more better than this one. But for what we got so far, I actually really like this one. But I think it just left me a little bit more. It just left me little bit just wanting a little bit more than what we actually got. And yeah, hopefully I enjoyed this video. If y'all want any other thing, and yes, I will be returning back to JoJo content very soon, but I just wanted to put this review out there just for y'all to, watch, listen to, and yeah, hopefully y'all enjoyed it. Hopefully y'all got something out of it. If y'all want to start a discussion in the comments or whatever. So yeah, have fun. See ya.